No prizes guessing where we got our Isuzu D-Max ute from this time. Thank you to Pakenham Isuzu for giving us this ute and for putting a few extra bits and pieces on it. This one's got a snorkel, it's also got an Ironman bull bar and a CB radio. It is the Isuzu Cross Terrain or X Terrain, and I'm going to tell you what I think of it as an alternative to an SUV. Now that might not suit everybody because it is a dual cab and because it serves a different purpose, but we do see a lot more on the road, and we do know that people are enjoying their dual cab utes as that SUV alternative for the practicality and for the ability to go off-road and also drive daily. The 3-litre turbo diesel gives you 140 kilowatts and 450 newton meters of torque. And Isuzu claim that you'd be able to get around about 8 litres per 100 kilometres on a combined trip. Not sure if we're going to be able to achieve it. We don't have it for a very long period of time, but I think we can go close. One cool feature that the Isuzu D-Max has is remote start. So you can start it up before you get in, get your air conditioning running, get your heater going, and get into a nice cool or warm vehicle. Getting into the D-Max, you automatically feel like you're getting into a really nice car. It's got leather trim, a nice big screen for your infotainment, digital display with a couple of other little features. I mean, of course, it's got the analog clocks and dual zone climate control. Let's get it out on the road and see what we think. Now, we're really not doing serious bush bashing here today. We have found a road that is a little bit rougher than normal. You can probably see with the way we're bouncing around. And the D-Max is handling this terrain really well. What I am going to do though, is I'm going to be honest with you. And this morning when I woke up, it wasn't a D-Max I was expecting to review. And I thought that James would be champing at the bit to get behind the wheel of this one, but he's got something special for you coming up soon. A little bit of feedback that we've had from our reviews is that we're often not critical enough about the cars. Now, I wanted to be pretty critical of this one, given that it was the feedback that we had that we needed to be a bit harder on our reviews. But there really isn't too much I can say that's negative about it. Yes, it is a little bit underpowered when you compare it to the Hilux and the Ranger. 140 kilowatts out of the 3-litre turbo diesel versus, I think we're looking at about 150 out of the Hilux. Not super noticeable on paper, but you can feel it on the road. Another thing that I would like to say about the D-Max, which I could probably say is a little bit critical, is that it has got a much firmer ride than what the Hilux did, and also the Ranger. But it is well appointed. The trim is really nice. I mean, we've got leather, we've got an electrically adjustable driver's seat, and I can get it into a really nice driver's position. It's got radar speed alert, so it tells you the speed limit, or it'll identify the speed limit on the road that you're traveling on by seeing a sign, which the Toyota also has, which is quite good, making sure that you're behaving yourself when you're behind the wheel. Plenty of room in it, so I've got my seat in a really comfortable position, and there's room in behind me for anyone that's sitting right behind me. And if you've got kids in baby seats, you can fit 3 across the back quite easily. Or if you've got a big crew that you need to take away for a weekend, you can get 3 in the back and they'll all sit nice and comfortably. The infotainment system can be a bit critical on that. It's got a quirky little feature that anytime you adjust the volume, you get a funny little beep. Sounds more like a Space Invaders game. Of course, you can turn that off, but look, if I'm going to be negative, I will say that not a big fan of that. The other thing, it doesn't have a CD player. Not that many cars have a CD player nowadays, but when you've got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you probably don't need a CD player. The map is quite easy to see. The criticism I could make about the infotainment unit again is there is no dial on it, so you can't turn the volume up quickly and turn it up slowly. People might say, who cares? But when you've got to use your steering wheel controls to get it down, and it actually goes down so slowly, incrementally, it is a little bit of one of those things that, yeah, I'm not a big fan of. Can't be too critical when it comes to things like storage though. You've got 2 glove compartments on the passenger side, you've got another compartment up here on the dash, you've got plenty of cup holders, and the ones under the vent are the handiest ones if you're driving along and you wanted to, say, place your coffee there. Rear seat passengers aren't forgotten, which is a good thing to see. Quite often in vehicles like this, a dual cab ute or an SUV, rear seat passengers are forgotten about when it comes to air conditioning and ventilation. You have got vents in the back there for the rear seats, which is, yeah, very handy, especially if you've got little ones in the back that like to get hot and bothered when they're on a road trip. You're probably all sick of hearing me say that the dual cab ute nowadays is an alternative to the SUV, but I truly believe it. 3.5 ton towing capacity gives you versatility. Throw a boat on the back, throw the jet skis on the back, hell, throw a classic car on a tandem trailer and go out to a track. You've got heaps of room in the tub, and in the D-Max, what we've seen a nice, handy hard lid, which you can close by rolling forward and open by rolling back. Really convenient feature. You might be wondering why the review for the D-Max is done by Nick and not by James. Well, our 4-wheel drive and ute expert is unavailable today. We'd like to say that it's because he's young and reckless, but the truth is he's a little bit busy. He will come back to you though with a review of this car a little bit different to mine. Unlike me, who's doing it in 2H, James will probably go into 4H and 4L. I'd like to say that I know exactly what I'm talking about, but given that the biggest contribution I gave you all with my review of the Hilux was that it had wheels and a tub, I think I'll leave the real 4-wheel drive stuff to James. I'd also like to thank Pakenham Isuzu for giving us the keys to the D-Max today. It's got a couple of extra bits. We've had a little bit of fun with the walkie-talkie or the CB, and we've enjoyed the fact that it's got a snorkel and a bull bar on it. Not because we've gone off-road, but bits and pieces like the driving lights can show you how versatile the D-Max is if you wanted to do little bits and pieces to it to enhance that 4-wheel drive experience. Once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.